Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for attending today. Hello and welcome to Thrive's monthly Lunch and Learn for December. This month's topic is on common AP problems in Sage CRE and ways to solve them. My name is Gabriel, and today with me is someone you may be very familiar with is Pam. If you are new to these types of sessions with Thrive, they are a free 30-minute webinar run by Thrive for our customers, and they're tailored to your everyday issues. If you do have any feedback or anything that you would like to see in these sessions, please feel free to reach out to us. I'd like to remind everyone today that during the session, please to mute your microphone. If you do have any questions, please post them in the chat, and we'll get back to you either at the end of today's session if we do have time, or we can always give you a call or email back to you a response maybe later this afternoon. Now I'd like to hand over to Pam to present.
Awesome. Thanks, Gabe. Well, hi. I'm a little nervous, so please forgive me if I stumble over my words. I don't like presenting to more than one person. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. I've put together a couple of slides which Gabe and I will happily send out to you after today's meeting if you'd like them. So today we're just going to look at three main things because it's only a short session. So one, there's kind of common things I get asked, how to refund AP overpayments or credit notes, why are invoices showing as open even though they've got zero balances, and how do I get rid of them? And also tips for avoiding payments that have been entered with incorrect accounting dates, because they can be a real pain if they're done incorrectly. So moving right along, let's have a look. So sorry, there's quite a bit of text, but I'm going to take you through and actually do some examples with you. So when you're looking at refunding overpayments or credit notes, either you've had an invoice entered in twice with slightly different invoice numbers, and you've paid it twice and you've realized your mistake and requested a refund. The supplier's then sent you back some money and you're like, that's great. What do I do with it? How do I receipt that? So the process to do it is, if you haven't already entered a credit note, your first step is to enter a credit note. So you go into AP, enter invoices, and you use the same distribution as what you did on the original invoice. So the same job code, same GL code, and also the same tax group as the original invoice. The next step you would do is to go and enter an invoice, but this one's not really an invoice. It's not a true invoice that's going to go on your back. It's really just a financial transaction. So you're going to select a GL clearing account to distribute the invoice to, and you're going to use an exempt or not reportable or GST-free tax group, whatever your setup has set up that you don't include on your BAS. Okay, so the final step is to then clear those two documents off against each other by entering a manual check. And when you do that, it'll have a zero amount. It'll be a manual check payment type. And you'll select both of those documents, the credit note and the invoice, and apply them against each other. And that will then close both of those out so they don't remain on your aging report showing as open. And then the final step is to actually go and enter the deposit transaction into your bank register in cash management. And when you do that, you should obviously enter it into the bank account that you've received the money into, and use the same GL clearing account as you used up here in step 2. Okay, that transaction is then going to be available in your bank rec for the money you've received, and it will also clear out the amount that you've posted to that GL clearing account. So it seems like a roundabout way to do things, but often the overpayments are entered against jobs and cost codes and things, which you can't enter from cash management. And so that's why we've got to go through this few steps to get it to be reflected properly against your job cost. So I don't actually have a demonstration to show you for this one. I figure I've given some detailed steps there of what to do. If you have any problems following the steps, then just fire us an email to the help desk and one of us will jump online and help you to go through and enter it. But if you follow those 4 steps, you should be set every time. You won't have it showing incorrectly on your BAS. It should show up just right. So the next step is looking at open invoices, but they've got zero balances. So you might be looking at your aging report and you're looking at it and going, why is that showing on my aging report? I've got, you know, it's showing as zero, but it's still printing on it. So to do this, you're going to use your AP invoice register inquiry to identify the problem. Now to do that, you're going to need to add the tax and tax paid columns to both views. So we'll go and do this. So you've got an invoice view where you're looking at the invoice header information, and then you've got, when you drill down into it, your distribution view, and you're going to add the columns to both. So if we just jump in here and go into accounts payable. Okay, so I've got this vendor here. So the first thing I'm recommending you do is to apply a filter. Because obviously this vendor doesn't have a great number of invoices, but you know, you have a lot of history in there, you're going to have a lot of data, and you don't want to go searching for the invoice. So if you apply a condition straight away and say status equal to open, and OK to that, then you'll only see the invoices that have a status of open. All of the fully paid ones, they'll all drop off, and you'll only see the open ones. So you can see I've got two here that they're showing as open, but they've got zero amount. And you say to yourself, well, why? The amount matches the amount paid. Why are they still open? So to get to the bottom of it, you've got to add these columns. Okay, so having added those two columns, you can see that this one, they match also, whereas this one, it doesn't match. So straight away, I have my answer here. My tax paid is different to my tax. And so straight away, I know I need to fix this figure here to match what was actually paid. Now the top one is kind of scratching your head going, well, they all match. So why is it still showing as open? To get to the bottom of that one, you have to drill down into the distributions and again, add the same two columns. Okay, and it's here at the distribution level that you can see the difference between the tax and tax paid. And that's why it hasn't closed off the invoice. It's still showing as open. So it's a really easy fix for both of them. You can leave your inquiry open. You need to go into tasks. You've got shortcuts. It's a lot quicker than waiting for the desktop. Go into change invoices. All right. So I would have both screens open together so that I can see all the information. Now this first one, where it's on the invoice summary level that you can see the error, so this second invoice here, that one's nice and easy. It's not going to post anything to the general ledger because it's the distributions that post through to the general ledger, not the invoice header. So it's really easy to change, and it doesn't matter if it has an old accounting date. So you're going to put in your vendor. You can either use the list or you can type in your invoice number. So if I use list, I'm going to go to posted invoices and then find my invoice. Now the difference is here on the header. So you can see 72.93 is not matching what was paid. there it is there. So I'm going to change that figure there to match what was paid. Okay, so that's all I need to do. I can now just straight away click on Accept Invoice. I don't have to change the accounting date, even though it's in an old period. It's not going to post anything. It won't care that it's in an old period. Okay, so I can accept the invoice, and that one's done. So when I click Finish now, that's going to go away and post it just in Accounts Payable only. Now, if I just add a column here for the status, now I'm going to go out of that vendor and then drill back into it. And you'll see that invoice is now gone. It's no longer there. Okay, if I take that filter off, you can see that there's that invoice I just did, and it's now marked as fully paid. So it'll no longer appear on reports that are showing open invoices. Now the next one is a little bit more tricky because it's at the distribution level that the difference is, which means that when you change the tax at this level, it is going to post a transaction through to your general ledger. So this one, it's the same process into Change Invoices. Bring up my inquiry screen so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this time, my vendor, my invoice is 8441742. You can see, you can just type it in if you would prefer that way than picking it from the list. Now this time the header is correct. So I'm going to just tab through that information. Now the error is down here at this level. So I need to change that to match what was paid. Again, change that to 49. If I try and accept that, I'm getting an error about period close, entry not allowed. Okay, so that's because my accounting date up here is March. Now, my current accounting period in this sample data that I'm using is May. March is closed. So if I change this accounting date to be a date within my current accounting period, which is May, so I can make it 1st of May, 2018. Type in that accounting date, and now I can accept the invoice. And I'm prompted to choose original or revised. Now, a lot of people get confused with this prompt. They choose the wrong one. All it's asking is, what date do you want me to put the reversal information through? So we don't want to post anything back in this particular situation. We're just cleaning up some errors. We don't want to go back into the prior accounting period. We want to put it through the revised accounting period. So it's going to put that 1 cent difference. It'll back out the 36.48 and it'll put 36.49 through instead, and it'll do it all in the current accounting period if you choose revised. So this is one of the rare circumstances that you actually choose revised when you're doing something in Accounts Payable. And so I can accept that and finish. And that invoice now should drop off my list or mark as fully paid. So jump back in here, you can see they're all now fully paid, and the only open invoices are the ones that are truly open. They haven't been paid. So it's a little tedious going through and having to fix these. They often happen on invoices that have multiple distribution lines, where the system seems to have a little glitch, where one of the lines ends up having the wrong tax paid compared to the tax. You can see they are very easy to fix, so it's not something to be concerned about having a go at. If you've got some really old ones and there's a lot of them and you really don't want to post the entries through to the general ledger, then get in touch with us, because we are able to help you to turn off some settings in accounts payable, which stop those entries from posting through to the general ledger. It just simply allows you to fix the data in accounts payable without posting through to the general ledger. You want to make sure that no one else is using accounts payable at the time, though. So it's something that's done with a lot of care. So the final topic I wanted to go over was just some tips for voiding payments entered with incorrect accounting dates. So it's a common error, and unfortunately the system still, even on the latest version, is allowing you to enter payments to closed accounting periods. It's something that we've asked Sage, and that there is a suggestion to Sage with a lot of votes against it. You can actually go and add your vote to the suggestion, which will make it more likely that Sage will fix it. If you're interested in going and voting on the topic, you can go through this one here. So under your favorites, go to this submit enhancement request under your web resources, and it will take you to a web page where you can sign into if you've already got an account, or it's very easy to register just using an email address. Just register an account, and then you're able to search the topics and have a look at the topics people have already raised and go and put your vote against them, or you can raise a new topic if you believe there's something in the system that could be done better. So to have a look at our error, if you have put something through with the wrong date and you want to then go and void it, you want to make sure that you void it using the original date, because you don't want something going through the payment sitting in there in 1955 and then you reverse it out in 2020. That's not going to go well, and you're going to end up with problems. So in order to use the original dates, quite often people know that they need to do that, but they go to do it and they get this message here: GL period closed, entry not allowed, and they really can't go any further. All they can do is click OK, and they're taken back to the screen before, where they then panic and they choose use specified date, and they put a date in the current accounting period. And that's where things go horribly wrong, because we really can't correct that once it happens without doing a file fix, which is obviously costly and time consuming. So if ever you're faced with this message, you're voiding something that's had a wrong date, you're prompted with this message about the period being closed, your answer is to go into your GL settings, into your processing options, and tick this box down here, allow entry to close period. This box will allow you to work in your subledgers, so accounts payable, accounts receivable, in closed accounting periods. You don't actually have to go and open up the period, because you can imagine if you've dated something 2002 instead of 2020, you can't open up the period in 2002. So you would tick this box, which will then allow this error message here, instead of being an error, it will become a warning. And when you click OK, you'll be able to proceed. Okay, so never change it to use specified date. Always use the original accounting date when you're correcting an error in the accounting date for your payments. And the way to get around it is to use this allow entry to close period. So again, just to show you it in action. I'm going to go to void payments. Okay, so I'm picking my bank account. I'm picking which payment I want to void. That's not going to help me actually. That's May 2018. Just close May. All right. So I want to avoid this using the original date. I get a message, period closed, entry not allowed. So, okay, what do I do now? I don't even have to exit out of this screen. I can just go straight to my general ledger and into the GL settings. Now you can see it's grayed out. That's because I already have something open via the desktop. If you open up the whole general ledger module, it's a way of getting around it though. So the general ledger module opens in another window, and then you're able to get in via File Company Settings, GL Settings, into the processing options and tick this box here. Now I can go straight back to my open screen and I can click OK. And now you can see it's just a warning. It's no longer an error that's blocking me. So I can say OK and finish. And so then I could go in and do my repayment using the correct accounting date. Now don't forget, if you do change any of your GL settings ever, make sure after you're finished doing the correction, you go back and change them back to the way they were. Okay, so if it's the first time sort of getting in there and playing with the GL settings, it's often good to take a print screen first, just in case you accidentally click something else. You'd think that makes sense, but that's not right. You don't want it forced zero proof by debit credit. It's got to be by company. So take a print screen, make sure you've got the right settings, and so that when you're changing them back, you're putting them back to the way they were. That's really all I had to show you today. If there's any questions, does anyone want to pipe up and ask? Otherwise, I've got the slides to send out to everybody. I know the first topic we spoke about, I didn't give you an example, but like a demonstration, but the steps are there. If you have that situation crop up, just follow the steps. And if you have any problems, email us at the help email address.
Great, thanks, Pam. Does anybody have any questions? Please feel free to either unmute your mic or post it in the chat. Let us know. We still have a couple of minutes before ending today. No worries. Well, if you do have any questions on today's session, again, like Pam said, please feel free to email or even give us a call. I would just like to give a very warm thank you to Pam for presenting today. I know you said you had some nerves to start with, but that was a really smooth, informative session, so thank you very much. Thank you everyone for attending today. Again, we'll get back to you with some notes. Annie Lee has a question. Could you please show more details how to record vendor refund?
Yeah, Annie, would it be helpful if I put some print screens in here for you? Because I can do that before I send out the instructions if you'd like.
She said yes, that would be great. No worries.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll just, I'll put some examples in there.
That sounds good.
Perfect.
Excellent. Well, I know some people came late today, so if you are interested in a recording or perhaps even a YouTube link to Thrive Technologies, please feel free to get in touch. I would like to wish everyone on behalf of Thrive a very Merry Christmas. I hope you all enjoy your well-deserved holidays and time with your family. We'll see you soon. Hopefully, please attend or get in touch if you would like to attend the Lunch and Learn for January. Thanks so much, guys. Please have a great rest of the day. Take it easy. Thanks, guys.
Everybody.
Bye.